Welcome to Yorkshire Towers here in the centre of Leeds. Not so many staff in this afternoon because we're all working from home, apart from myself and Carolyn, the editor of This Is Why magazine, and of course the man in the middle, the man of the moment, Graeme Bandeira, the Yorkshire Post's cartoonist. Good
afternoon,
Graeme.
Afternoon, James. You all right?
Very well. You're having a week off from work. Busiest man in showbiz, aren't you?
I do my best, but I think I've earned a week off, so I'm quite pleased about that. Picked a nice week as well. I'm going to be 28 tomorrow, so it's beautiful.
So, Graeme, you've become, I suppose, one of the stars, if that's the right word, of lockdown and coronavirus. Not because it's something we want to celebrate, it's been a very difficult period for all of us, but some of your artwork has received regional, national and international acclaim from some of the pictures at the very start of coronavirus. And for the next half an hour or so, we're going to go through some of these pictures. But Graeme, before we start, you're a regular tweeter, aren't you?
I do love Twitter, yeah. It's a nice release and takes the pressure off just doing work sometimes. It's nice.
10,000 followers now, quite proud of that, are you?
In a way, yeah, it is quite nice, but I suppose having 10,000 followers means if I put a cartoon out, there's a chance that, you know, a good percentage of them will see what the message I'm trying to get out there, which is a good positive. But in terms of numbers, I don't pay too much attention really to statistics.
But one of the tweets that you put out recently was about your great-grandfather.
That was a good tweet, yeah, that was an informative tweet. Yeah, it was on Father's Day. I went to visit my father in Middlesbrough, and my stepmum, as they do, they get out all the photographs, and she said, look, got a picture here of your great-grandfather. And I was aware that there was a story behind it. I said, tell me the story. So they'd been doing some research, and it turns out he was born in Sao Paulo, Brazil. He was in the Merchant Navy, and he was basically smuggling rum while he was doing his job, and he settled in Middlesbrough in a place called Cargo Fleet. Had my granddad, and then the rest is history, and here I am.
Well, we're looking forward to getting to know you a little bit more over the next half an hour or so. And I think Carolyn's going to start asking you a couple of questions about where it all started, I suppose.
Yeah, so you were born in Middlesbrough, and tell me about your life growing up and how you got into art.
Yes, I was born in Middlesbrough. I grew up in a place called Hemlington. And ever since I was a kid, old enough to sort of draw on walls and curtains, I've always drawn. I've always enjoyed it. It's something that I find quite therapeutic, and it also sort of diverts your attention to one sole purpose, is to try and deliver something and get a message out there. And that's now something I'm still doing. And like I say, I've always drawn. I've done it academically, through school, through college, through art college, university, started freelancing for some publishing houses in London. When the digital era came in, because I've always worked traditionally with pen and ink, and that's the medium I still work with now. When the internet arrived, it sort of dried up a bit in terms of work. That's when I found something a little bit more regular and got a job at the Yorkshire Post, servicing the advertising department, creating cartoons, and here I am now, still doing the same thing.
And how important do you think it is to get news and current affairs across in a creative way?
I think it's vital. I think people like to open up to different ideas and perceptions, and not necessarily get bogged down with mainstream media in terms of, you know, an agenda with certain channels and organisations. I'm just operating as an individual person, getting my message out there in what I think is right. I am obviously led in certain directions by my employer, but we generally knock our heads together and come to the same conclusion, really. So it's very enjoyable. It's very rewarding as well when you put a cartoon out there and it's well received.
Well, I guess something so visually appealing, then once it gets onto social media and is shared, it really has an impact, doesn't it? It
does. Again, touching on social media, predominantly I work for print, but the way the world is now, social media is just as important as print. So to put a cartoon out, it can travel around the world in seconds. So that's the importance of social media, really, particularly Twitter.
How far have these been picked up? You know, people in which countries have sort of shared them?
I've sold prints in Venezuela, Costa Rica, Denmark, Norway, a very, very varied global network, really.
No fans in Brazil, then?
I'm not so sure yet. I need to do a bit of groundwork, don't I? I need to do some digging.
You do. Can we talk through a few of these?
Of course we can. Yeah, absolutely.
We've got 6 of the iconic images throughout the whole, I suppose, last 3 months. Am I right in saying the NHS nurse there with the globe and the pandemic bursting at the seams there was the first one? Is that right?
That was the first one, James. When the coronavirus wasn't taken so seriously, there was a lot of news reports and X amount of people have died, and I think people were paying lip service to it, to be honest. Probably a week into that, when the figures are getting a little bit more increased and rapid, I did this cartoon just to amplify how important it was for the NHS and the strain I thought they were going to be under, which turned out to be correct, really. And it was just a very simple image. I was aware that this pandemic was global. The NHS are going to be under severe strain. So you just try and think, how can you do that in a very simple way? So I just thought of a nurse. Everybody likes nurses. Everybody appreciates what they do. And obviously I've come up with this coronavirus type model, which has been quite synonymous, really. A lot of cartoonists have portrayed it like that. It's like a strange looking atom. Horrible looking thing, really. We're best rid of it, if I'm honest, but it seems to be heading that way now, thankfully.
And then what was the pickup on that? Did you start to think?
Very good, yeah, very good. Put that out on social, and it went viral pretty much within a couple of days. It was everywhere. Got picked up, national media, went on to Sky News. Adam Bolton gave me a call and asked me to go on. So I thought, well, that's working. It's doing its job. You know, if it's been picked up nationally, then it can get picked up internationally. So it's just about getting a message out there. But it didn't take too long. It was an afternoon's work, was that, and not bad for an afternoon's work, just to get a message out. From that, it spiralled. You've got the bug, excuse the pun, to start continuing to produce others. So I did the one of the supermarket lady. That was based on a personal experience. I went shopping one weekend, and it was the first real weekend where people started stripping shelves unnecessarily. It was just sheer pandemonium and completely unnecessary. And I just thought it was a sad indictment, really, of today's current society. Very, very selfish. So when I got into work on the Monday, we're actually in office then, in premises. I put pen to paper, produced that in a day. Again, a personal experience, one which I thought quite strongly about. And it went viral, went really, really well. Massive take-up, and the message was out there quite quickly. It was picked up by Jeremy Vine, who did his utmost to push it, and a lot has spiralled since then.
And Carolyn, you were asking about the colour, the choice.
Yeah, did you purposely do that in black and white?
I did, Carolyn. That's a great question. Yeah, if you see a lot of the others, they are very, very colourful, quite striking. That one I wanted to purposely leave colourless. It's just done in mono. Because I thought that was very typical of the mood, my mood as well, in terms of how I thought about the situation and what I witnessed in the store.
Yeah, it's like the starkness of the situation.
Yeah, it sort of gives an impression of old Russia when there was no food on the shelves, and that was what I was trying to get across. It looks very concrete, and I think I've hit the nail on the head with that one.
Absolutely. And then you've got your contrast from Florence Nightingale, is it there, to current day medical staff? Yeah,
that was a then and now. It just showed Florence in her pomp, handing over the lamp to a modern day NHS employee who we all know have been under immense strain, and it was just a case of shedding a bit of hope, really, and a bit of light.
And then we fast forward to some of the lighter moments, although a community coming together with our very own Captain Tom there.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Sir Colonel Tom Moore now, I believe.
Quite right.
Yeah, again, that was a crazy story, really. I did the cartoon to commemorate him finishing his laps in the garden, which I thought was a phenomenal achievement. And he's a person that I warmed to straight away. I just thought he was a phenomenal man. I did a cartoon for him going through the finish line, and I did that as a follow-up with the nurses saluting him, just basically highlighting his contribution to the NHS. By that point, I think he'd done about 27 million, and then once that cartoon was out there, he'd topped 30 million. And then Jeremy Vine again picked it up, started pushing it on social, put it on his programme. I took a call from them asking would I do a cartoon to present to him on his birthday. I wasn't sure how it was going to happen with social distancing, but we pulled it off. So I had a word with editor at the Yorkshire Post, my boss, James Mitchinson, and we spoke with Channel 5, Jeremy Vine, and we set up a plan where I produced the artwork of him on his birthday cake with 100, all the nurses surrounding his cake, saluting him, appreciating what a fantastic guy he is. We got a Rolls Royce from JCT 600 to transport the artwork down, and it was presented to him by a chauffeur. Absolutely brilliant. Good stunt, and it's something that it was live on TV. But for me personally, it was a fantastic thing to do. It was superb. Really, really proud of that one, and it was nice to be able to see his face live on TV, receiving his gift.
And a Yorkshire hero as well.
A Yorkshire hero, absolutely. Keithley. So that image has actually been put on the back of a bus, a special commemorative bus in Keithley. So again, it's another spin-off from just doing a cartoon.
Yeah, and on that point about Yorkshire, so the Yorkshire Post have led the charge as the region's national newspaper on coronavirus, the tourism industry, the economy, wider scale. Of course, we're at Welcome to Yorkshire, but that common thread has enabled us to really highlight the big issue here. So the paper does the job of the words, the analysis, but a picture does literally paint 1,000 words here, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I mean, I'm surprised how many people have actually said that on comments on the cartoon. They actually do. You know, a photograph one picture, one snap can tell a story, and it's the same with a cartoon. If you get the tone right, I think that's always important. And I spend a lot of time, you know, regurgitating ideas in my head. The tone has to be right. It's sometimes hard to sleep. You do a cartoon, you put it down, and you go to bed and you think, I'm not so sure about that. You wake up the next morning, have another look at it, and sometimes it's been torn up and you've started again.
And how long does it usually take you to create one of these? From
start to finish, initial idea to finished artwork, scanned, even on a page or online, it's about 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours. Some are quicker, some you don't have that amount of time. Editor might say, look, we need this out by 6, and he'll tell you that at 3. You think, right, okay, so you've got to do something quite quickly. I tend to work better under pressure, actually. The ideas flow because you don't have a choice, you just got to think something quick and go with your gut instinct. Thankfully, my gut instincts work for me quite a few times, but I'm sure there will be times where I've been tripped up, but at the moment I'm on a bit of a roll and there's a bit of momentum there and I'm enjoying what I'm doing.
Any favourites? I'm just looking at the Black Lives Matter.
I mean, I don't want to delve too much into the topic itself because it is very, very controversial, but I put this one out. It was a simple message. I'm completely anti-violence. I don't see a need for it whatsoever. If people have the democratic right to protest, and I'm fully behind that, but when it comes to attacking other people of different ethnic origin or police, it's completely unnecessary. And that was just a reaction to what I witnessed on TV over, you know, a few weekends. Police being attacked in London and different races fighting amongst each other. It's not called for, really. Winston Churchill was again another telling one, really. I just thought that the idea of him being boxed up, it is a little bit sensationalist, if I'm honest, because he was boxed up as a precaution. But why vandalise statues? That's another question for another day, I guess.
And again, you've gone for that one in black and white.
Again, I've gone for that in black and white, similar with that one, just because the story doesn't, for me, have any brightness to it. They are very, very taboo subjects and quite risky, and colour would just enhance it and make it a little bit more cheery, and I don't think it's a cheery subject to portray. Pleased with Dr. John Sentamu. I've got a good relationship with him. He's one of ours in Yorkshire. Yeah. Fantastic. The Archbishop. So that he's received a print of that as a fair.
You put him in wellies?
I've put him in wellies. His words were, "I don't wear wellies." But as the cartoonist, artistic license, I can do what I want sometimes. He's had a couple of cartoons from me, and the first one I presented to him in the offices, I did him as a shepherd with his crook and all the sheep. The Lord is my shepherd, and he really liked that. And got him a print sorted, and then he jokingly said, "I'm going to sue you for defamation of character." So I'm like, I wasn't sure whether he was serious or not, and I says, really? He just laughed as he walked off. I thought, he left me hanging a bit. A couple of weeks later, I received a lovely letter saying, I sent him a copy of one of my books I've done. And he says, thank you for your book, absolutely wonderful. I will not be suing you for defamation of character. Brilliant, what a guy. Wish him well, what a fantastic man.
You do caricature some people, so the Prime Minister there doesn't escape you.
Boris, again, he's another one. I've met him in the office and he was, I'll be honest, he was great. He was really good fun. Very self-deprecating. I did one of him as a wrecking ball, asked him to sign it just to gauge his reaction. And he took a look at you and went, I absolutely love it. I mean, talk about being in love with yourself. I mean, God. But yeah, he enjoyed that one. I think obviously we know he's a controversial character, splitting the nation. But he's brilliant to draw. The Royals, yeah, that was recently in the paper to celebrate social distancing. Looking at it from a light-hearted perspective, obviously the Queen would have been at Ascot, but because she can't due to social distancing, they're watching it from Windsor Tower. So again, quite a serious story, but done in a light-hearted way.
Well, Graeme, it's been lovely to have you in. We're going to continue speaking
it's been great.
In part 2 about your love of sport and your recent cartoons of football grounds. I'd love to come over and correct you why. It's just an
I'll do it.
But I suppose the point is, Graeme, you're a proud Yorkshireman, aren't you, from Middlesbrough? But what does Yorkshire mean to you?
It means everything. That's where my children are born. It's where I was born, if you want to go into the argument of is Middlesbrough in Yorkshire. That's for another day, but I think it is. It's still within that North Riding boundary, and anywhere south of River Tees is Yorkshire to me. So, yes, it'll always be in Yorkshire.
What's
and
the
I'll be
Yorkshire
Yorkshire
day for you? What are you looking forward to, post-coronavirus?
Oh, it's a good one. Taking the dog to Malham Cove and then stopping off for a pint on the way home. That'll be good, yeah.
Does it always involve a beer?
Not always, no, but it is nice sometimes when it's a nice sunny day, yeah.
Maybe we can pull one out for you later on.
Absolutely, good man.